Oh shit. Here we go again.
Low, low, man. Low, low, man.
You like contracts, right? You're a contract guy.
I read contracts instead of conventional pornography, yes.
Oh, hell no. Oh, hell no. Oh, hell no.
Ladies and gentlemen, we got him.
Are you guys enjoying the stream today?
What's up, everybody? It's your boy Andrew Esquire, and this is the Legal Mindset. We teach you to be your own judge. Thank you for joining me this lovely, lovely evening here in Bangkok, Thailand. And whether it's morning, evening, afternoon, wherever you are, and I'm glad you are here to join me for a little update on Vitaly. Yes, we've got some news about Vitaly. And really some an update here that is based on the reactions of Vitaly's allies that are now claiming that Vitaly will not survive in the Philippines, that he is destined to be doomed. So we're going to go over this. I wanted to do a quick stream today to go over this because this is really important to correct. First of all, we're going to play we're going to go through the articles and play the clip that's in question that involves Aiden Ross, as well as Rampage Jackson, a friend of Vitaly who made that comment about him not surviving. So we're going to go through that, and then we're going to correct the record, fix things up, clear things up, and perhaps, go a little bit deeper than the clickbait articles and videos out there. Because, by the way, I have noticed that a lot of the articles, so the written stuff, when I go to Google, it is showing up with clickbait similar to YouTube. So the algorithm is using the same keywords like the amount of time in jail, and they're putting it out there saying Vitaly's going to jail and he's been sentenced to X amount. That is completely incorrect. That's complete misinformation. And that's why you guys watch The Legal Mindset, because we get you the accurate information and we clear up misinformation and keep you above a 39 IQ. Riyam Mar gifted 10 Legal Mindset memberships. Thank you so much for that.
Emotional cabbage.
Thank you. Hagfish for two says Mom and Trill fans are here. Hey, good to see you. Uncle Mindset, good to see everybody here from the Mom and Trill team. I love you guys. You guys are great content creators. Keep on doing it with consistency and, pushing it. You will make it. Just keep on going. Circadian Izzy, member for 2 months. Thank you. And Taco Well for $14.99 says, nice to catch one live. Have some dollar reviews for the swear jar. Thank you. I'm going to try not to, but when we get to the video, I may end up cursing because I'm going to tell you what, when I saw this just the comments here in this bus, as somebody by Aiden Ross, by Rampage Jackson, by Neon, who's also in this bus, the amount of just lack of research and lack of knowledge, but acting like they know what they're talking about there's on a deep level. When people are just having a conversation and they're saying stuff like, oh yeah, this is a fact, right? And it's like, no, that's absolutely not only not a fact, it's just not true, right? It really bothers me. It bothers me on a deep level, and I got to correct the record. All right. So let's get started with how this happened, shall we? I'm going to jump right into it today. Really, we're not going to mess around. We're serious mindset today. So let's get started with the article before we go to the video and before we start breaking that down. So here's the article from IBT, and this is the article that is related to the video, and we'll get into the comments that I think need to be addressed. Rampage Jackson warns Aiden Ross that YouTuber Vitaly Zorovetsky might die in Filipino jail. A reckless prank spree in Metro Manila has landed YouTuber Vitaly Zervetsky in a Philippine prison facing up to 18 months. So what I want you guys to focus on here is facing up to 18 months. Let's go closer. Let's enhance, shall we? Facing up to 18 months. What does that mean? That means that he potentially could get that. That does not mean he's been sentenced. That does not mean he's been found guilty. That just means that's the maximum. That's the maximum that's possible at this point. More could be added. More could be added. So you got Aiden Ross there, who obviously he's met Vitaly, and he got rampaged over there. So obviously gets to the background that Vitaly, the 33-year-old Russian-born influencer, was arrested in BGC Manila following a series of disruptive stunts. Videos circulating online show him taking a restaurant van, riding a security motorcycle without authorization, and weaving recklessly through traffic. Charged with, and by the way, this is not all he did, right? So obviously he also, threatened a business in Boracay. He also went up to a older woman and threatened to rob her. He harassed the security guards, kissed them, tried to steal their guns, that sort of stuff. Let's continue. Charged with unjust vexation, alarm scandal, attempted theft, and public disturbance, Vitaly now faces serious consequences at the BOY's Bicotan Detention Center, a facility notorious for overcrowding and harsh conditions. So this is what I think the people focus on, is this part. Philippine Interior Secretary John Vic Remula confirmed that Vitaly will serve his sentence in the Philippines unless another country agrees to accept his deportation. And by the way, both Russia and the United States have declined to accept him. So they have declined to accept his deportation. So there's Vitaly right there, messing around. So former MMA champion Quentin Rampage Jackson, a close friend of Vitaly's, posted a video online voicing deep concern over his well-being. Vitaly might not make it out alive. We're going to watch the video, so don't worry. Jackson said, warning of a severe conditions in the Filipino detention facilities. His statement has fueled debate on social media, with supporters expressing fear for his safety and critics arguing that his actions warrant the punishment. The detention center, known for its limited resources, cramped quarters, and tough environment, lends to Jackson's concerns. So we'll get into that. And the Russian, this is a really good one, and this is really one I wanted to also mention. The Russian embassy came out and said, don't pull a Vitaly. The ambassador of Russia came out and said, do not pull a Vitaly. Do you know what level of condemnation that is? See, they don't have to say anything. In fact, with most arrests, they don't have to speak up. Look at Johnny Somali. The U.S. Embassy has been silent on Somali. They haven't said a thing. But with Russia in the Philippines, they went out and specifically singled them out and said, don't do that. Don't pull a Vitaly. And I think that's very important as to the severity of the case. And I think the ambassador to Russia gets it, which is something that it seems like Aiden Ross, Rampage, Neon don't get. This rare public review underscores the sensitivity involving the case. I agree. With Russia declining to repatriate Vitaly and the U.S. silent on the issue, Philippine authorities have been left to enforce local law independently. President Ferdinand Bongbong Marcos weighed in, criticizing Vitaly's actions as deeply disrespectful to Filipinos, which they are. And most people that are Filipinos and Filipinas in my chat feel extremely wrong by this, as they are warranted to do, because he targeted this country intentionally with the help of a local to do these things, thinking he could get away with humiliating people and humiliating the country. This talks about the ethics here of influencer pranks, saying this is the immigration commissioner saying harassment and disruptive behavior have no place in our society. Public sentiment in the Philippines largely backs law enforcement, and I would agree. Most people, expats and people in East and Southeast Asia I talk to, back this up. Most people in the United States back this up. In fact, let's do a little poll in the chat here. Now, of course, people will say my chat is biased, which they can say that. I mean, I think we're biased towards the truth, but it is what it is. Let's see. Do you back the Philippines, Philippine law enforcement response? Right? Do you back the Philippine law enforcement response related to Vitaly? Obviously, it's a yes or no question. Like, okay. And with many calling for stricter enforcement against foreign influencers who disregard local norms. This is not just in the Philippines. This is all across Asia. This is all across the world. People are sick of these streamers and sick of them getting away with things and sick of them getting away with murder. The phrase "don't pull a Vitaly" has gained traction online as a cautionary warning for content creators chasing fame through controversial acts. And it's like, don't pull a Vitaly / Somali. Like, both of those guys, I think, are very much the top two names. Vitaly's case highlights the increasing scrutiny faced by social media personalities whose action cross legal lines abroad. As couples grapple with disruptive influencer behavior, this incident serves as a stark reminder viral fame offers no immunity from local laws. This is exactly what I've been saying since the beginning of this, since the first thing I covered. Trying to think that your passport, or even worse, the fact that you're famous on social media, is going to get you out of jail for free is insane. Your viral clout on this social media platform has nothing to do with what you invest in the country. And what you should be investing in the country is caring for people, establishing deep networks with people, respecting the culture, respecting the language, respecting the laws as an extension of the culture. Right? Michael Schmidt says for 2, Gruß aus Deutschland. Keep going. I ain't stopping. Michael W. said, saw you on One Night in Bangkok podcast this morning. It was great. Thank you. It was great to hang out with Eric. We had a great conversation, and you can go over there at his channel, One Night in Bangkok, and check that out. We did a fantastic interview here in Bangkok. ID Peace BOA 46 for 999 says, what? Kick streamers not knowing facts? Color me shocked. Heavy sarcasm. Yeah, we'll just wait till we play the video because the video is coming next. King Luigi said, hey, LM, did you get my email? Yes, I did. Thank you for that. Thank you. I need to download that on this computer. Gary Lee said Sly Kane sent back to the Philippines. I believe what he did was he went back to the Philippines, he hid in the countryside, and then he left again. So I believe he left, and I'm not sure whether he came back, but he's hiding outside of Manila. He's not spending time in Manila. That's what I know. And he's also changed his hair color. So there's that. All right, so let's get to the good stuff. Let's get to the video. So here's the video, and I'm going to play it once. It's very short. I'm going to play it once with no commentary, and then I'm going to comment on it. So we'll just play it through once, end to end, and then we're going to comment.
Tallies. What's
Bro, he's only in jail for like 18 months.
That's a long time.
Bro,
In a
he's supposed
foreign
to be there for
country?
like 20 years.
You got 18 months though?
Yeah.
That's
He's
so
probably gonna
sick.
come out like fucked up, though.
time.
18
You know, the worst part, everyone's happy as fuck. Like, no one's like, oh, like, all the comments are, bro, they're on his ass.
And-
Celebrate. Yeah, they're celebrating.
Are the Philippines a dangerous place to go to jail?
I've been there.
To go to jail, it's the worst place to go to jail.
Shut the fuck
It's
up.
so poor.
Places like that,
It's the worst. They don't give a fuck about
Bro,
yourself.
no one there knows English. Like, he's just sitting there
I
like,
was just over there after and everybody was telling me they hate his ass. They said he might get killed in there.
yeah,
That's what the
facts.
Philippine people were telling me.
The prisoners hate him too?
They hate him. Everybody
Because he
hate him.
disrespected the culture. He
Oh my
disrespected
God.
the
I was
country.
just over there after that shit happened to him.
Yeah, GG.
No, there's talent.
This was the most low IQ conversation I have seen in a while. And I don't watch any of these dudes. None of them. This is possibly, I feel like the principal from, what was it, Happy Madison? This is possibly the stupidest, most inane conversation. At no point did any of this make sense. At no point was any of this coherent or correct. I award them 0 points, and may God have mercy on their souls. We're going to get into it and break this down. This is so dumb that I felt the need, and I hope you guys can feel me here. This is so dumb that despite the fact that it's a very short clip, I felt the need to pull up a stream, not a fast facts, and lay into this. Oh, Billy Madison. Thank you guys. Great movie. Even if I scuffed it. I think I watched that like 3 weeks ago, 4 weeks ago. It was great on a plane. But this was really dumb, and it needs to be corrected. And I do hope that they do listen and do learn, right? I hope they listen up and they learn. But this is completely wrong. From the beginning, it is just incorrect fact after incorrect fact after assumption after, pretty racist comments as well, right? Including ignorant comments that are just inaccurate. It's pretty horrible. Fricey for 5 says TBH Rampage most likely had brain damage from the UFC. Look, I'm sympathetic to the fact that people don't know, but it's time to get educated and it's time for Legal Mindset to do the education because that's what I do on this channel, education and entertainment, right? Eric H says, you mean that people can't get away with things for being internet famous? Actions have consequences, but the internet lied to me. Why does nobody tell me these things? Rottweiler said their combined IQ is still a single-digit number. They're really going to get outcompeted by the octopus. The octopus could definitely outcompete these guys. Like they're fighting over that single brain cell. Definitely brain rot for sure. So obviously, let's start from the beginning here. And actually, no, before we start, I want to get to this article where I think a lot of this confusion came from. So I found where they probably, was it this one? It may be this one. So when you Google, yeah, here we go. When you Google Vitaly, right? And I'm going to pull this up real quick. You get this. Vitaly jailed for 18 months in the Philippines. This is so wildly inaccurate. And if you actually click on that and go to that article, right? You navigate through to that article, you see that it actually doesn't say that. It says Vitaly jail time, 18 months in the Philippines. No, faces 18 months. Somebody was so dumb that they did not understand what that meant. Seneca Cabrera, either you're malicious and you're spreading clickbait and misinformation, Seneca, or you're that dumb. I don't know which one is worse. I really don't. But this is pretty damn shameful. This deserves some shaming right here. To have that click through as 18 months. And of course, the low IQ people probably just hit the Google search, right? Could be AI generated. Somebody said it could be AI generated. That's true. Just hit Google search and maybe pulled that up. Horrible information. Facing means potentially, not convicted. It may not be. We may not get that sentencing for a while. It could be a year or two before we get the sentencing. So we'll see. They may expedite it. They may not. They may push it faster. They may not. So he might be waiting for trial 1 year and then face 18 months on top of that. Or it might just be 6 at that point. Who knows? They might say, you were here for a year and then we'll give you 6. And so you've been here for 18 months. All right. Taco World says, why would you do this to me? I forget Neon existed and I was happy. Is he still relevant? I don't know why this kid was ever popular. I never followed him. Sorry, maybe I'm a boomer or something, even though I'm a old millennial. I don't know who this kid is. All I'm judging him is by his statements here, which are really ignorant. Repton says 2 brain cells and both are fighting for 3rd place. A stroke survivor, Moza with AIDS, says Aiden and Neon must be so out of touch to think it's okay to disrespect a nation and culture to not realize it leads them to what we're seeing in the U.S. right now. And what's embarrassing to me is, as far as I know, these guys are all Americans, as far as I know. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm sure that almost all these guys are Americans. So as an American, when I see this go down, I know why people think Americans are dumb. When I watch videos like this, I'm like, this is why some people will have the impression that Americans are dumb, because they'll see clips like this, they'll see other dumb stuff, and they think we're dumb. Now, to be clear, some of the smartest people I know are Americans, obviously. Grew up in America. I'm an American, right? But it's not a good look for us, Americans. This is not a good look for us. This makes us look bad as a country. We need, which is why I do my best to be the opposite of that. Yeah, it's someone. Okay, this is fair. Okay, you know what? I normally don't show non-super chats, but this is very good. To be honest, humans are a pretty stupid species. You know what? Fair dues on that one. Zuki says, hey, Legal Mindset, when's the headshot coming? That is Monday. It's already up. I will talk about that later. ID Peace BOA 46 says, don't worry, Neon is an idiot. No reason to know him. No. There's a reason to shut him down here. So let's play the video without further ado. And I want to stop at the first BS they drop.
Tallies. What's
Bro, he's only in jail for like 18 months.
So, okay. So what's the deal with Vitaly? He's only in jail for 18 months. So no, he's not in jail for 18 months. He's pending trial. This is pre-trial detention. It's what you might refer to as jail. Now, I had a video, I don't know if any of you caught it, about the South Korean lawyer who agreed with me that Johnny Somali is going to see some time behind bars. And understand that other languages don't make the distinction necessarily, don't have the words that English has. So they don't have two words like jail and prison that can mean different things. Jail can be for a shorter period of time, prison typically for a longer duration. Typically, there are exceptions to this. And I see the people in the comments going, well, Andrew, in this certain state, that's not how it works. Okay, guys, calm down. Generally, right? That's how in English, at least in America, the term split, right? There's of course exceptions. But in other languages, they don't always make that distinction. But let's just say that he's in pre-trial detention, which is merited given his crimes, given his potential as a flight risk. That is a risk to leave. That is merited before trial. He has not been given any sentence that would put him in prison long-term post-trial. Modern Life Dating said, criticize the intelligence of the U.S. How dare you? Well, if get better, be less stupid. Cryosite, thank you for that. Thank you. Cryosite, you on Echo Search for 5. You do a pretty good job of not continuing the dumb American stereotype. However, I must request that Alex Jones clip you love to use for yourself. Yeah, look, I can be stupid too. I just try to be self-aware about it. And I will play the Alex Jones clip just to rag on myself.
Look, here's the thing.
Fine. Listen,
I'm going to be honest with you. I'm kind of retarded.
I think my having some brain cells, but not too many, helps me communicate with the masses. Gary Lee for 199 says, I'm outside the US, I stay away from American folks. I will say a lot of times people are surprised I'm American because they'll like look at me and they'll say, well, you don't do XYZ. And that was their stereotype, right? Like you don't dress like an American. I'm like, okay, what do you expect an American looks like? I'm wearing a baseball cap every day and a jersey, right? Like that's what they expect. Like, no, I don't wear a baseball cap every day and a jersey, right? But that's their expectation, which isn't always true. But anyways, thank you for that, Gary. Okay. He's not behind bars for 18 months. That's not true. Let's continue.
That's a long time, bro.
That is not a long time. He could potentially face way more time. Johnny Somali potentially faces way more time. That is not a long time at all. In fact, we saw in the case of Johnny Somali where 3 months was not enough to just hold him for 3 months, was not enough to convince him to stop his ways. Vitaly, 18 months may or may not be enough for him to learn his lesson. I don't know. That's up for the judge to decide if he's going to learn his lesson. So I don't think 18 months is too long. By the way, 95% of you back Philippines law enforcement. Only 5% of you are the antis right now watching. So Ramsey, Hank, Vitaly's bros, that's 5% of you. By the way, you're still welcome to watch. And, I do appreciate the 5% of watchers that perhaps disagree with me, but are watching anyways. You guys can hit the like button too. Even the haters. But the likers could smash it harder. Let's continue.
In a foreign country,
20 years.
He was supposed to be there for 20 years. No, we don't know. What Neon is falling for, and Neon is this kid over here. You're going to see his face in a second. Neon is literally the product of learning information by only reading YouTube thumbnails or article titles. That is literally what happens if your only source of information was a thumbnail or a title. And that's the danger of just skimming information or looking at the headline and not actually reading the rest. That's the ADHD, like attention, like the attention of a hummingbird problem. It's a serious problem. And also like this can be a problem of AI, for example, because AI can only take, sometimes will only take the top results and not go deeper. But and you know, of course, that's a flawed learning model. But what I'm saying is this is a big problem. This is a huge problem. You need to do your homework. You need to do your homework. Darmax says, when RKI enjoys himself being Korean barbecued, Vitaly is getting flash fried in the Philippines. Who just become pros? What do you smell? Do you smell what the Philippines are cooking? That's right.
18 months though?
Yeah.
That's so
It's probably gonna
sad.
come out like fucked up, though.
So we say it's so sad. Hold on. Let me go back. Hold on.
It's
It's
so
probably gonna
sad.
come out like fucked up, though.
I just think
18 months? You know, the worst part, everyone's happy as fuck. Like, no one's like, oh.
You know what's the worst part? Everybody is happy and no one like is awe. What are they supposed to be awe about? Was it the part where he stole the guy's motorcycle and drove around crashing into stuff? Was it the part where he threatened a man's business in Boracay? Was it the part where he threatened to rob an elderly woman when he was trying to steal a security guard's gun? What are they supposed to say awe about? What is there to awe about here? There's nothing to awe about. There's nothing to feel sorry for. Now, I know some of these guys are bros with Vitaly, so maybe they have to put up a front. But they're not being bros. What's not helping, and what I don't think is being a bro, is being uneducated on the details of what's happening to your bro. In fact, I think all of these guys are really shitty friends for not doing serious research into what's going on with this guy. And for opening their mouth and being so ignorant on what's going on. There's plenty of information on this dude. There's multiple articles, not just my videos, which, by the way, we got cited yesterday in a very big article, but there's lots of other articles even that don't quote me. There's channels that I've had on Philippine lawyers. There's other channels that have put on lots of information on this. There's Filipino news. There's plenty of information out there in English to get educated. And they've failed to do that. The only thing they can do is say, oh, that sucks, bro. Oh, it sucks they're not backing him up for no reason. Having no concept of the actual facts around it. Putting zero time into it. It just tells me everything I need to know about their friendship. It's a social media friendship. And that's the level of a social media friendship. It's skin deep. These people aren't real friends. They're social media contacts. And I know that. Look, I know that as a person here. I know what it means to be a social media friend or a content creator friend. You're not spending hours and hours together. You've done a stream together. You've gone to an event together, right? You enjoyed that for like 30 minutes, but you didn't have a deep personal conversation. Fitty Tucker says for 10. Oz says for the swear jar. I just saw an interview with one night in Bangkok. Didn't realize you went to holy school. Yeah, I was almost a preacher. Methodist. Always went to Methodist seminary. Yes. That's before I converted to Catholicism. That's a whole journey. Oh man, it's been crazy. But you know what? I'm glad I went through it because it brought me here, and it taught me a lot of things that I needed to know. Lisa O for 10 says the conditions that the jail are horrible, but Vitaly planned and knowingly committed harm to others. To quote Barada, "Don't do the crime if you can't do the time." He also went to the Philippines hoping to take advantage of it by bribing people and thinking that I can just bribe my way out of anything, and thinking that was going to be an effective tactic for him to get out of jail. That he did that willingly. He even said, but I'm giving you money. I just want to give you money. Incredibly demeaning. But these people don't know any of those facts. They don't realize that at all. They're not even thinking about that. All they're thinking about is, oh, bro, my streamer guy's not here. Oh, it's going to hurt my streaming numbers. My streaming numbers are going to be down. Big Buddhist for 5 says typical American outfit is a Meg's hat, a white tank, and Crocs with socks. Oof. Now, Crocs with socks, I have seen other nationalities. I will say that, Big Buddhist. I've seen it. Robert Escher for 10 says, as a teacher, I tell my students I am a weapon against ignorance. However, I have no cure for stupidity. That's on you. That's a good one. Taco Roll for $7.99. So are we really surprised that the Three Stooges didn't do any research? Just fall for clickbait. I think they could do better. They could do better. But yes, it's not horribly surprising. But it's still, it's pretty high level ignorance for someone who claims to be their friend. Kelly Barker, welcome as a new member. Appreciate having you here. Welcome to the BLM, the best membership out there, the most based. Thank you. Let's continue.
Like all the comments are all pro. They're on his ass.
And
Celebrate.
Yeah, they're celebrating.
Fucked up, man.
Are the
So don't these guys want to take a second to know why all the comments are like that? Do they really think? And they're about to get a little bad here. And Aiden says something that I think is really fucked up. And I'm going to put that in the swear jar because it's messed up. And I don't jump fly the this is racist flag. I'm very reticent on it, but it edges on it. It edges on it, right? So trying to say that the only people that are mad about, and we're going to get into that this is only isolated to Filipinos and Filipinas. We're going to get into that. Yeah. So let me back this up 2 seconds because I just want you to hear his delivery here. Okay.
Fucked up, man.
Are the Philippines a dangerous place? Are the Philippines
Celebrate.
Yeah, they're celebrating.
Fucked up, man.
Are the Philippines a dangerous place?
So first of all, he doesn't know about it, right? And trying to say, oh, is it dangerous, right? Like you could do 2 seconds of research on that and understand that, look, every single country in the world, and I've traveled a lot, every single country in the world, every country, including America, which, by the way, you just had IRL streamers shooting each other in America, or shooting, there's an IRL streamer shooting, which I may cover because there's a crazy defense in there with one of them trying to claim self-defense in Vegas. But you have in America people shooting each other, and you're trying to claim, is the Philippines dangerous? You haven't done any research on that. Like it's such an assumption, and I love this assumption that people have that we live in this big Western country, and we have this because our GDP is large, that makes us safer. Are you kidding me? I'll tell you right now, guys, ladies and gentlemen, I live outside the United States. I haven't been back to the United States in over 365 days, right? I feel less safe in the United States than I do anywhere in the Philippines. I'm going to say that one more time. I feel less safe in the United States than I do anywhere in the Philippines. And that's just factual. That's just factual. So let's see what they respond here.
To go to jail?
I've been there.
To go to jail, it's the worst place to go to jail.
Shut the fuck
It's
up.
so poor.
Places like that,
It's the worst. They don't give a fuck about
Bro,
yourself.
no one there knows English. Like he's just sitting there.
I
Like,
was just over there after, and everybody was telling me they hate his ass. They said he might get killed in there.
yeah.
Okay, so let's rewind this one real quick. Okay.
Place to go to jail?
I've been there.
So I love how, okay, let's stop here. So this is Neon. This is Neon's nerdy ass. So Neon says, I've been there. And I love how people will say, oh, I've been there once. I stopped there. I went to a show. So where did they probably go? They probably went to BGC, whatever. They stopped in, they did something, or whatever, Makati. They stopped in for 2 seconds. They went. You act like you know the country, and you're an expert because you spent 24 hours in the country in a probably nice hotel, and you went 1-2 places, and you went back home, right? And all of a sudden, you're a subject matter expert because you've been there. And the comments, because there's another comment he makes, which they didn't pick up in the article, but you can hear it real quick. And I want to point out how somebody who's quote unquote been there doesn't know anything.
To go to jail, it's the worst place to go to jail.
Shut the fuck up.
It's so poor.
Places like that,
It's the worst. They don't give a fuck about
Bro,
yourself.
no one there knows English. Like he's just.
No one there. Do you get that? No one in the Philippines knows English. Let's put that. Do you guys hear that? Look, let's play it one more time. He says it right after he talks. Right? Well, look here.
It's the worst. They don't give a fuck about
Bro,
yourself.
no one there knows English. Like he's just sitting there.
I
Like
was just over.
No one there knows English.
No. Wait. Wait.
You clearly don't know anything about the Philippines. No one there knows English. Hold on. Yeah, let's do a little. Oh, God. It's like, how about other than Singapore, the highest English proficiency in Asia? Like, they're up there where they go. Like, I have never, like, what are you talking about? Philippines has mandatory English. And beyond that, everybody knows English there. Everybody. It is 99.9%. It is incredibly disrespectful. It's super ignorant. And it shows that the 24 hours you spent there on a layover was not enough to give you a PhD in the Philippines. They're talking about, okay, so someone's trying to say they're talking about people in jail. Melisandra, aren't the people in jail also Filipinos? Or there's some international people locked up too, right? So there's Filipinos in there. They're going to speak English. There's international people. Guess what I found? People that go and travel internationally probably know some English. It probably took you, if you're an international prisoner, right, and you managed to get that, you probably know some English because that's the necessary language for travel. Most people who travel tend to know some English, a basic amount of English. So yes, that is very ignorant. No one knows English. Yeah, that's dumb. Gearly said, I feel safer in Eastern Europe than the USA. Yeah, I mean, Eastern Europe is relatively safe. Robert Escher says, I was a teacher in BKK for a year, China for a year, and Kuwait for 3, and Kuala Lumpur for 2. Not one day did I feel unsafe. And mind you, it's more about understand safety, and not safe is more based on neighborhoods, right? There's always that bad neighborhood of every city, right? Of every city. But I will say this, I generally feel the possibility of severe physical violence in the U.S. is higher than most places I travel. Right now, there might be some possibility of something like robbery, etc., in certain places of the world, right? But not necessarily physical harm. But let's continue. Hackfish WS says Americans don't even know English is from England. Well, we do. So some of us do know that. Octare, and by the way, so I saw someone in the chat says, why do you hate America? I love America. Every country has positives and negatives. And as an American, I think it's important to both acknowledge our strengths and our weaknesses, right? There are a lot of strengths in America, a ton. But you got to be honest about your weaknesses. Octare says, glance around Philippines. No habla español? Well, there's actually a lot of loan words from Spanish. And there's still there's some used there to this day, right? Asian Dragon 456 says Mom and Trill will enjoy the react to Neon's low IQ. Yeah, that's a good one. Captain Colombo said just because they don't want to talk to you doesn't mean they don't know English. Exactly. Let's continue here.
Over there, and everybody was telling me they hate his ass. They said he might get killed in there.
Yeah.
So of course they're gonna hate his ass, Rampage. So this is Rampage right here. They hate his ass. Yes, might get killed. Well, I mean, it's possible you can get killed anytime, right? And frankly, if he apologizes, he probably will be fine. He's probably not going to get like extremely physically harmed. But that said, if he was doing a Somali and he was unapologetic, then I think he might have some more problems. I don't think he's going to get killed, right? I think that's being hyperbolic. Allison Brown says, because of my background of growing up in the 60s and 70s as an African-American, I do not feel safe anywhere. I always worry when I travel. Well, then that's equal then. So, right? So, I mean, that's a perpetual thing, right? So it's not like you're better or worse. That's just a constant state. And, I'm sorry you had to go through that experience. I mean, obviously, if you grew up in a background, and I speak to people all the time who grew up in crazy backgrounds. I was speaking to someone the other day that, grew up on a really crazy border. here where there were mafia and shootings and crazy stuff happened, like crazy stuff in their life. And obviously, when you go through something as a kid, as a child, that impacts you the rest of your life. And, that can kind of become your normal. But what I'm intending to say is relatively, right? Like relatively worse, relatively better, right? Relative to whatever your baseline is, whatever your normal is, I don't think that the US is making you feel better than any other country, if you get what I'm saying. Except for perhaps some places that are super crazy, right? Certain places of the world. I mean, maybe like rule Afghanistan or something, or like Somalia. Lavender Morrow. Our textbooks and exams are in English. Neon is stupid. Yeah, that's one of the dumbest things ever. ID Peace BOA 46 has lived in Japan for 2 years as an Akaiwa teacher at ECC. When I was 23 years old, I'm a woman. I used to get home at 10:30 p.m. and then I would go out for a jog and would never even consider doing that in the US. Asia is so much safer exponentially. I would walk around at night in Korea at 4 a.m. down dark alleys that would have fueled my nightmares if I tried to do that in, let's say, downtown Chicago or Detroit or Miami, my hometown, right? There's certain parts of that city. If I did that at 4 a.m., I think I might die, right? But I had no problem. And I had no problem even if I went out and had a couple sojus and was stumbling back, and it would be fine. No one's going to bother me. Hackfish W asked for £2. Says Americans don't even know what the Mayflower is. I know what the Mayflower is. Okay, stop. All right, let's continue.
Yeah,
That's what
facts.
the Philippine people tell me.
Did the prisoners hate him too?
They hate him. Everybody
Because he
hate him.
disrespected the culture. He
Oh my
disrespected
God.
the
I was
country.
just over there after that shit happened to him.
Yeah, GG.
GG. The only correct thing they said is GG. But yes, he respected. So what I don't understand about these guys is this. They get it right a little bit at the end. Like Neon does say one thing right at the end there.
Yeah,
That's
facts.
what the Philippine people tell me.
Did the prisoners hate him too?
They hate him. Everybody
Because he
hate him.
disrespected the culture. He
Oh my
disrespected
So they do hate him and he disrespect the culture. That is true. So little point there at the end. But what blows my mind is they don't understand how someone who disrespected the culture and broke the laws, let's add that in there because that's an important little addition, who disrespected the culture and broke the law, importantly, would be somebody that we don't say we're sympathetic for. It's not just like he ate with the wrong fork. It's not like he didn't enjoy Jollibee and they got mad about that. Right? People act like, and this is what, these ignorant people like Aiden Ross, like Neon, they're acting like he went over there and he didn't like sisig. And Filipinos are upset because he didn't like sisig or chicken adobo, right? That's not what's going on here. He broke the laws. He disrespected people. He acted like he could do whatever. He acted like he could pay them off afterwards, openly, on camera, for money, for clout. That's what happened. And I think that's crystal clear. I really do. Colin Ewan says Neon showing his IQ is smaller than his shoe size. Big oof. I don't even know what shoe size that guy is. Like a size 6. Oh, funny. So to me, I think that, yes, defend Jollibee. Defend Jollibee. Come on, sisig is hard to hate. I love sisig. Got nothing wrong with sisig. That's some good food. Actually, you know what I was looking for? If anybody, okay, this is a side note. I want to buy see if they have like a Jollibee shirt I can buy in Thailand or somewhere. I can buy like a Jollibee shirt because I do want like a Jollibee swag. I want Jollibee swag. I've got to have it. So if anybody knows where I can buy that, let me know. Looking for that. But anyways, I think this is not helping him. And what I think is most frustrating about this, from the perspective of someone who's been covering this in the Somali case and been covering Vitaly, is now people are seeing these comments of people that are his quote unquote defenders, and the comments by his defenders, frankly, disrespecting the Philippines, are not going to help your boy. You are not going to help your boy by calling them poor, by saying they don't speak English, which is not true, by talking down to them, by insinuating they're going to do something that is untoward, that is unfair to Vitaly. That's not going to help your boy at all. What you should do is try to say, hey, no, he's a good guy. He made a mistake, but we realized what he did was really wrong. You've got to acknowledge what he did was wrong. Trying to pretend that what he did wasn't wrong is not going to work. What does work is acknowledging that he did something very, very wrong and being genuinely apologetic for that instead of pretending that he didn't do anything wrong. That's what would help your boy, not the other way around. Not trying to pretend that nothing bad happened and nobody's mad and that there's no reason to be mad and that they're overreacting. Because what these people are saying, what the Vitaly defenders are saying is, oh, this is only Filipino pride. This is only your ego. Johnny Somali said this in Korea. In Korea, Johnny Somali said, I'm sorry I hurt your pride. And that's what the Vitaly simps and defenders are saying. This is all Filipino pride. And that's complete BS. It's the law. And beyond that, it's the culture as enshrined in the law. And it's profiting off of breaking the law for money and clout. It's pretty clear. It's pretty clear. Silver Fox says 0786. I love Jollibee. We have them in the UK. Yeah, they're around the world. They're around the world. They've expanded pretty much everywhere. There's Filipinos and Filipinas, which is a lot of places. Which is a lot of places, thankfully. Let's see here. Asian Dragon says, in most IRL streamer world, there is no such thing as acknowledging all it out is using destruction virus in the community and making politicians to change the law to hurt normal people. Well, that's what I'm afraid of. What I'm afraid of is that they end up changing the laws in a way that might hurt normal people and overreacting in certain areas. So what I want the law changes to focus on is streaming as an aggravated factor. So if you're streaming and you break a crime or do something wrong, that makes your crime worse. I think that's a good way to go about it. And I think it protects people while really targeting the nuisance streamers that are profiting off of bad actions. Allison Brown says, this is why you show respect all around you, no matter where you are. Stay out of jail, stay alive. And this is true everywhere. And my lesson as a lawyer traveling abroad is that a pinch, a tiny amount of sucking up your ego can save you from miles and miles of legal trouble. And this is not something I have to say as a lawyer. It's something I say as a traveler, as somebody who lives abroad. Taking away your ego or thinking you're right or thinking your American way is better or your Western way is better, stepping back for a second and thinking, how would I feel in their shoes? How would I feel in a position of a business owner, of a person in this other position? Taking 1 second to do that can go so far. And taking 1 second to think, hey, look, from her perspective, when I came up and said to that woman, I'm going to rob you. Yeah, she probably was pretty intimidated by that. And that probably was pretty wrong. And yeah, that's somebody's mom, aunt, grandma. And they wouldn't like it if it was their mom, aunt, grandma. Frank Pareto. So the world isn't safe because degenerates like them exist and spread it like a plague. I am for human rights, but do they really qualify as human? And I agree with you on rights. And I won't say they're subhuman, but what I will say is this: what they think, they believe that they are better than other people simply because they're born in Western countries. And I think that's one of the most screwed up mindsets that anybody could have. As a person who's traveled, I've met people that are farmers in very small countries that have tiny GDPs smaller than Rhode Island, and it's the whole country, right? And they are happier and have life figured out in a way that people that have millions of dollars in New York City, London, Zurich, all over the world are not nearly as happy and have life altogether as that guy who's working that farm. So once again, I think thinking you're better than somebody because you have whatever, right? You're born in the West, you have a little bit more money, right? Your passport is a certain color. It's a blue passport instead of a red passport or a brown passport, whatever. I think that's really insane. Dwayne says, can you go to Korea and interview Somali? I would never interview Somali directly. Nothing he says is useful. Anything that comes out of Johnny Somali's mouth is completely useless. Now, if he's behind bars and he wants to, confess to his crimes and repent, I'd be willing to review a confession, but we'll see. That's after he's behind bars. Norbert Froelich says, why is everyone so negative? Their conversation is top class satire. You just don't get it. Yeah, it's just a prank, bro, right? It's just a prank. Thank you, Norbert. Vielen Dank. Fun for 199 says, Vitaly's farts make no sound. Yeah, he can do no wrong. And I love how, his these defenders are coming up with these just wild excuses, and they're really uncoordinated, untargeted, and they're not effective at all. Really at all. Let's see here. Brain Fried for 5 says, Americans load themselves too often because of U.S. major cities. Most of the U.S. is as safe as Tokyo, but you will never hear of those towns. That is true. That is very true, Brain Fried. You're absolutely correct. When I lived in the small town in North Carolina, Western North Carolina, near where the last shot of the Civil War was shot, it was very safe, super safe, ultra safe. People left I left my door open. Let me say it again. I did not lock my door because nobody would steal from me. In fact, I wanted somebody to come over if I needed something. I'm like, oh yeah, if you need to come over and do whatever, come on in. It's all good. I trusted everybody. I knew everybody. So yeah, that's super safe. That's the countryside, though. The small towns. Yeah. And that's generally true, by the way, in most places in the world. Danny Skier for 40 says, why not talk to the South Korean lawyer? I'll try. I'll reach out to him. I'll see if he wants to talk. Absolutely. So that's what I have on Vitaly, but let's talk a little bit about Somali, shall we? Because I want to give a little preview there and give you guys a little bit of taste. So just in case you don't know, we've been waiting for this bombshell on Somali, and when I can talk to you guys about it, I will be able to talk to you about it on Monday, my time, at 8:30 p.m. Bangkok time. So that's Monday, 8:30 p.m. Bangkok time. Depends on where you are in the world. That may be Monday morning for you if you're in the U.S., maybe afternoon in Europe. Who knows? But this is the one you want to catch. You want to catch this one. I may bump the time 30 minutes or so, plus or minus, but it's going to happen that evening. That's a thumbnail. So that's where you want to go for the one that I've been waiting to drop, and it is going to be epic. It's going to be great. Sorry for the wait. I do apologize. We want to make sure we do everything right on the Somali conviction team. And I do appreciate everybody who supported the team. Of course, you can still go over and support us on Ko-Fi/Andrew Esquire. Do appreciate that. But we're getting everything is buttoned up, translated, good to go. We wanted to double check the translation and make sure we are good. So thank you for everybody for contributing. We all deeply appreciate it. Michael Rua says, is there really any reason he deserves forgiveness? Vitaly? I think from Vitaly's standpoint, I don't know why we should forgive him yet. I think he's only been there locked up now, pre-trial for a little bit. I think he does need some time to reflect and think about what he's done. And I think maybe after, he's been there for a bit longer and he's gone to trial and he's served his time, if he's truly sorry, I will accept that at the conclusion of the process. But once again, he's got to go through a process. You have to go through, it's like Shawshank, right? You have to go to Shawshank. And I use that Shawshank Redemption, the movie, as a kind of showing somebody's catharsis, healing, going through a process. You have to go through that process really, like genuinely. But we haven't seen that yet. It's not done. So people who are trying to keep him out of jail and keep him from any consequences, it's not good. It's not good. And then trying to imply that the Philippines is some poor, backwards country that doesn't know how to handle things, it doesn't help your buddy. Not at all. All right. That's what we have today. I'm keeping this one short, sweet, to the point. We're not going to do a fast facts. That's why I want to keep a little more streamlined today. But I will be back, of course, on Monday. I may or may not do one tomorrow on the Vegas situation. I want to see if I get more information on that one. If I do, that'll be up. If not, I will catch you on Monday. Until next time, guys. Peace.
You are coping the seething. You just can't believe what you're seeing. Yes, you're coping the seething. The truth it is all day, and now you are more